Welcome back, my nomads. Welcome back to another Bitcast. I got my boy here, Zach. What's going on, Zach?
Hey, how you doing, man?
Doing good, man. So this is part two about our little Netflix rant.
Uh-huh.
Now you have a message for the people out there, for the average consumer. Let them know what your message is about Netflix.
So I wish I could write this in more colors to show even though it's great and diverse and stuff, it's a bunch of crap.
Man, it's
true.
It's just the new Blockbuster now, I guess.
Blockbuster at least was, it kept you coming back.
Yeah, they did with those great deals on like 3 for $5, 2 for $5, 4 for $5.
Exactly.
I got so many DVDs from Blockbuster. I guess that's what it was going under, but still, I got so many good movies from Blockbuster. But yeah, you officially got rid of your Netflix, and you were telling me
yes
that they said that they're going to have ads by the end of 2022.
Exactly. Yes, that's what the executives at Netflix have warned its employees of what's going to be.
Now, Hulu is Hulu. It's a relatively good service, but it's like what, $5 a month with ads for the basic one?
I think so. Not even.
Now, Netflix, on the other hand, do you know anybody who's going to pay $20 a month plus ads?
Dude, I'll tell you something. I'm trying to think, and I'm going to compare it like this. If anyone who likes baseball knows all the innings, they're on the bottom of the ninth with two outs and two strikes left. And two strikes. So you got one strike left. That's it. That's where they're at with the ad thing, because that is a death sentence. Because if anyone pays attention, companies that are ad revenue based, where the majority of their income comes from ads, is not a successful way for you to grow or even get back that lost market share and all the lost profits that they had. And I mean, we can go back and forth about how 2020 and part of 2021 was just it was just a artificial bubble in terms of tech stocks, which is very true. And we talked about that in the last podcast. Not going to bore people with that again, but this is where they're at, and you gotta sleep in the bed that you make, and they made this.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, because I was just reading an article before this about how Netflix bought out the rights for Knives Out for the sequels for that movie, and how they outbid Lionsgate. And they were just talking about how the future doesn't look good for the sequels for Knives Out because Netflix is in a bind.
Yeah.
And this executive was talking about how Netflix plan was to outspend all the other streamers.
Right.
Which is a crazy kind of it's a crazy strategy, because eventually that's going to catch up with you. I mean, you can keep raising your subscription price, but
I'll give you a good example.
Billions,
you see that bike in the background?
Yeah.
That's a Peloton. All right. They're learning a thing or two right now about subscriptions. Yeah. All right. They just borrowed $750 million today from two different banks that started their IPO. And it's like the writing's all over the wall on that, and, bright pink spray paint. Like that's a matter of time too, type of thing, before Nike or Amazon or take your pick who would buy that. So, I mean, like I said, dude, Amazon is in a prime position right now for a
unintended.
A company's going to buy them out, because it just makes more sense to buy some that's already got a platform than make your own. And it's too late,
Not to mention, I remember when because you just reminded me something. When a bunch of the companies were trying to start their own streaming service, and the quality and the apps were kind of iffy. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people talked about how Netflix was superior because of their code for the app, and
Mm-hmm.
how in the beginning people were trying to figure out Netflix's code and trying to copy it so
Mm-hmm.
that their streaming services could run smoothly.
Right.
So now that you mention it, people might buy it just for Netflix's code. It's like when a company wants like
Look.
an operating system and the other company won't sell it to them. It's like, well, then we'll just buy your company and that operating system is ours.
Elon Musk is probably going to buy it just for the hell of it. All right.
It's
It's
like,
just one
what
of
day
those
is it?
things
Thursday? I think I'll buy Netflix.
you know what I mean? So it's like, and then he's just going to put, a bunch of Tesla stuff up and everyone's going to enjoy that. But no, I know, all joking aside though, yeah, it's kind of sad. It's like a really good, nice pair of shoes that you've worn for a long time, and you just don't have it in you to throw it out, but you got to because it's giving you back problems. Like the problem is with ads, right? Our millennials, you and I, are a main piece of the demographics that are going to consume the content that Netflix provides. And if you're going to start putting ads in there along with a $20 price tag, that's a lot to ask for. You know what I mean? Especially when the content's not even there.
Nah,
If the
it's
content
just
was
not.
like was just great,
HBO Max quality, I
well,
mean,
that's a whole different thing.
because
But
they got a whole
HBO,
library.
right, exactly. They already have their own IPs and stuff, so they already have their original content, which is what we talked about last time. But now it's like, I guess they got the F1 thing, but that's it, really. That's like the only thing that people are latching on to. But if I was F1, I would move somewhere else.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, man. I mean, you and I talked about this years ago about how it doesn't make sense how much money Netflix was spending. They were just buying up IP on top
Right.
of making their
Yeah.
own content,
It made no
and
sense. I'm like,
it,
make
it
your own.
just
Just
made no
stick it with
sense.
making your own. There's no need to buy the whole library of friends and just you know what I mean? Because the thing is, your subscription prices are going to have to justify how much you're spending on all of these IPs, right? So you're going to have to get these really attractive like series and movies and stuff just for people to switch over. And if you're dropping all that cash just for that and you're not making it up, like it makes no sense because that's, there's so much content at the end of the day too. Like what we talked about last time is like, all right, you kind of find yourself just browsing through without actually watching anything. And what good
Yeah,
does that do? You know? And it's not really inspiring personally, and like, we have short attention spans. So we got to find something that's going to click with us. And if it doesn't, and you're going to have some ad about, shampoo right in the middle of something, you know what I mean?
and it's not even gonna be like smooth about it. It's gonna be like how YouTube ads are,
it
just
just
gonna be
cuts off.
like in the middle.
Yeah.
So you want some shampoo?
Yeah,
It's like, yo,
it's like
what?
if you're watching Star Wars and Anakin and Obi-Wan are fighting and then he's about to kill him, and you're like, what? It's like it's going to be that inconvenient.
Manscaped. Right in the middle of Star
Oh
Wars.
man, dude, it's
I
no.
don't know.
Personally, what I actually see happening, I think Facebook or something like that's going to probably end up buying them. Meta, excuse me, someone like them's probably going to end up buying it because I think
Yeah.
they want to start diversifying their reach
Yeah.
personally. Because Meta is already going through, they want to do this whole virtual experience type of thing. So the best way to do it is at least start getting some content to do that. And Netflix would probably be the easiest way to do that.
So they do, let's say for hypothetical, they do that. What happens to the Netflix library? Do they just sell it? Do they keep it? Do
See,
they license it?
I don't think, yeah, I think they would license it because if they sell it, it's not doing them any good. And, Meta's already got the kind of cash to where it wouldn't make sense to sell it. Licensing it would make the most sense because then they can put in their virtual worlds and put in their Oculus stuff. They have a lot of other things they can actually show those IPs and all, like actually use it for what it was intended. Netflix doesn't have any other industries to broadcast their product compared to Disney. They got toys, they got movies always in the movie theater, they got all this other stuff. So it's not just streaming that they're on.
So who's the next guy? Because I know Netflix has a lot of deals with because Netflix is pretty international. They'll
Yeah.
have deals with like Warner Brothers to internationally distribute their original content. So like
Yeah.
Titans will be on Netflix in Europe, but it's on HBO Max in America. Who do you think is the next Titan, so to speak, to take that responsibility of distribution for the international audience?
I mean, it
You said it
depends.
earlier. I think it would be Amazon.
You think Amazon? Well, Amazon's got their own. I don't see
Yeah,
them.
but
I don't see them.
Amazon's not turning their nose up to another revenue stream. I think they would just be like, "Hey, yeah, everybody has Amazon. We'll just push out the Titans for you." You know?
Well, I don't. I personally, I don't know what the reach is in Europe.
Yeah, true.
You know what I mean? Because parts of Asia they don't have any, zero, because Alibaba. So their retail services they got nothing. So I don't know if that would be exactly smart. You know what I mean?
True.
And you got to think of it like if you're going to have China, which is the largest consumer of anything, you're going to have to go through the CCP to greenlight it, and not every company is going to have that type of ability or access.
Right.
So and that kind of brings me back to like, yeah, Meta makes sense, but because Facebook's not allowed in China either, are you going to be able to have companies that aren't legal in China own that type of property to be used in China? You know what I mean? So that's
what
another
about YouTube?
thing. Yeah. Is YouTube part of? I think YouTube's part of the ban list as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they block a lot of content. They don't want people knowing a lot of stuff outside what's going on. So so you got to be really careful. It's John Cena learned the hard way when it came to it. True. And how hard and critical I was of him, but I became a little more lax with it because at the end of the day, $900 million or whatever it was that they earned from China alone, that's still $900 million, and that's feeding your family. So,
Yeah, feeding the families of the cast, the crew, people don't think about that as well, too. There's men and women who handle the lights, the electricity,
yeah, exactly,
the catering, the makeup,
right.
So.
Right. No, you're right. And so I'm kind of curious to see what happens to it. I don't see it just completely dissolving, whatever happens. And it's really a shame because, they had such good content and they had such a role for such a long time. Like, to me, I think the Tiger King thing's great. That, but that's only good for so long. Like, these flash in the pan, like reality stuff that they really seem to get a lot of momentum with, that you can only ride that train. Yeah, and you can only ride that train for so long. You know what I mean? It's like Squid Games, like we talked about before. Like, why does it make sense to make a season 2? The first season, that was enough. We got the gist. You know what I mean? There's nothing else that can shock us at this point. Like, it was shocking watching that. Now
the choices that they're making now, it's just the stuff they're making. Like the Money Heist show, the Hispanic Latino whatever Netflix original show, they're making a Korean remake on the same platform.
Yeah. The problem is with international is like, how many people who are watching Netflix who are like college kids that just have it on the background really care about that stuff?
Yeah, I feel like it's more of a niche thing.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Same with martial art movies or kung fu movies. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
because
Same
I'm a
kind of
big
thing.
fan of that, and
Yeah,
that's what I
of
use
course.
Netflix for. But that's a niche market, man. Most people I talk to are not watching like martial arts films like I am on
Right.
Netflix. They're watching documentaries, they're watching even reality shows, you know. So
Right. And that's why I said that Turner Broadcasting could be the ones that end up purchasing it because they don't really have like a foot in the door in any of this stuff.
yeah,
So it would make sense for them to have something like that. And
probably.
plus, Ted Turner is one of the richest like media moguls on the planet, so he has that ability to to purchase that. So, no, I'm very curious to see what happens in the next couple of months. I mean, everything's already falling apart as it is, so I don't think people are going to be caring about what happens with Netflix stock. But the stock is going to force them to make decisions that are going to be unpleasant. And the ad thing is really just a last ditch effort to kind of have their own kind of sense of control.
What if Redbox bought them out?
Redbox. That'd be something else. Wouldn't that be funny? Because Netflix kind of replaced Redbox, right?
Yeah, man.
Dude,
Yeah.
Redbox was cool, man. When we were in college, like
Yes.
we would grab some. You know what I mean?
You grab like 2 or 3 of them Jones for the weekend.
Oh man,
And
take
they
it
still
back.
got them up. Like people are
Oh,
still
I
going to
know,
Redbox.
dude. Yeah, it just
Like,
makes me sick to my stomach. That was 10 years ago too.
I know. I know. At this point, I'm like, yo, I'm an old man. I'll pay the extra dollar to get it off Amazon Prime, so I don't have to return the disc. You know?
Hey, Apple TV. That's another one. Apple might do it.
That's true. Get that code, man. I feel
You
like no
know,
one really cares. Maybe this isn't just me being biased, but I feel like no one really cares about Netflix's library. I feel like people just want their code and their platform.
see the code to me. Well, because their platform's just like easy and seamless, but it's just gotten so busy with so much content that it doesn't. It just seems like it's just not. It's not organized now. You know what I mean? So it just
Well, they're
relies.
trying to push that stuff on the people so much that they're just suggesting everything to you. Some of the stuff that gets suggested to me now, I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm not watching this. What's wrong with your algorithm?
Here's the thing: if they get like Ancient Aliens every season of that, I mean, I might come. I might come back. I'm just saying.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Aliens. I
I
love Agent.
Dude, it's great. The funny thing about them is because I was watching it this morning before I went to work to get me in the right frame of mind, and what they say now, like 5 years ago, they're like these dudes are just whack. You know what I mean? Just out of control. These guys are
Right.
just saying whatever just to get attention. To like, wow, that actually makes sense now. Like
Right.
we've gone far that much in the rabbit hole with everything. It's like, I don't know how much you pay attention to like UFOs and stuff, but it just blows my mind how I couldn't believe how much transparency there was with the government just releasing all these videos. I mean, look, at the end of the day, we knew that aliens would exist, but do you really know? You know what I mean? Because we've always been under this impression that, all these alien movies, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, they just come out of nowhere and then they start harvesting us. There's never been a movie that the aliens were good and they were trying to have like good intentions. You know what I mean? So
Right.
it's just kind of been drilled in us that any kind of life beyond ours is just hostile.
Yeah. And then reality hits, and we realized during the pandemic, aliens came. And we were like, you know what? We don't need to visit this place. Let's go back home. This place is a trash bag.
The craziest thing to me that really turns me, because I was very against it for so long, was the fact that the New York Times writes an article with people from the Pentagon admitting that there is vehicles that we've recovered that are not from this planet, and no one cared. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is like the biggest thing ever. Like, no one cares. Like, they didn't even need to retract it because it was such a mind blowing thing. But we were just so focused on all the other things that was going on. We're like, they pretty much admitted that
Yeah.
that
It
there's
was
other
like, yo,
things.
aliens are alive. It was like, really? Don't try to
That's like the
distract me with
most
the fact that I get a stimulus check. All right, where my money at?
that's like the most indirect way of saying that, like, aliens and life exist, intelligent life, especially with how these
Yeah.
vehicles are, right? And I'm just like, how come there's no documentaries or movies? Like, I'm kind of curious to see where it goes with like movies and shows about how we were as a species during COVID, because that affected every single person on this planet in some kind of way.
Yeah, man. I feel like we're still going through the residual effects of it.
Oh yeah, dude, it's vibrating through still. Like, unless you're in the middle of like South Sudan, I guess you don't really care. But besides that, it affected pretty much everyone. And I just want
Yeah.
to see like what kind of content and what kind of things actually come from it, because you see shows now like Law and Order, for example. Like, you see how the sets are made, like, in the courtroom is like how it would be, type of thing. And it's, with how COVID is, people wearing masks and the shows and stuff. I mean, you see that, but
Soon you're going to get an influx of a lot of people who took up writing during the pandemic, and there's going to be a lot of shows, comic books, books themselves, where it's like in a post-apocalyptic future with this disease, it put the world on standstill. I'm like, oh, okay.
so that brings up a good point that makes me think. So do you think, because it's so easy to kind of get a deal with Netflix, that you have a lot of these, like, I guess, these one hit wonders in terms of like shows and stuff, and how accessible it is to get deals with Netflix, like I said? Do you think that is the reason why part of the quality is the way it is?
Well, yeah, because when you just say, now let's be clear, Netflix wasn't saying yes to everything. I would hear some creators say like, yeah, I pitched to Netflix. They said no. But when your strategy is to spend as much money, when your strategy is literally to spend more than your competitors,
Mm-hmm.
which is crazy, and then your
Yeah.
strategy is also to make like 20 shows in a month and see what sticks to the wall.
It's not a good way of doing it, because how much cash you're making from one show is not over.
Yeah.
It's not making up for the fact you just lost 19 others.
And it's not like it's a movie like No Way Home or a Transformers movie where people repeat watch it. You might get some more money the next month. You might get less money the next month. Netflix had a finite set of subscribers, which meant that they had a finite amount of money that was going to come in that month.
Yeah,
But
it's
they just kept
saturation.
spending.
It's just saturation, right? Like, they've reached the point of
Saturation.
max saturation. There's only, so for people who don't understand, it means that there's only so many people will subscribe to this, right? Let's just
Right.
say you're in a let's just say out of the country you got 320 million. Out of those 320 million people, how many of them are actually going to be able to subscribe? And out of those possible, how many people can subscribe, how many of them realistically will do it? So if
Right.
you're at like a wonderful number in your industry, 20%, right? So that out of that 20%, you got 20 million people of subscribers. And then you times it by how much your subscription service is, because that's the only way you're generating ad revenue. That is how much you're able to get every single year. The only way you're able to get around that is if you take more people from different markets. But the thing is, they're only stuck in, the only way they make money is from subscriptions. There's no other way. So how do you
Right.
make more unless you charge more for the subscription service? And at that
Yeah.
point, that's pretty much defeating the purpose of what it was for. So,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And that's why they're bringing ads in, because that's the extra way to get the thing is, I can't imagine ads making up that much of a difference, because they're hemorrhaging subscribers.
Yeah. People are leaving. People are out. I think another strategy that shot Netflix in the foot was they try to go against traditional theater viewers. Um, they Netflix themselves said they wanted to change the way we watch movies. They wanted to make it more at home.
Uh-huh.
And yes, um, for a time because of the pandemic, people were watching more at home.
Right.
But they were it it showed that if it was the right movie, people
Right.
would go to the
Back to the
theater.
movies. Spider-Man was a good example of that. James Bond.
Yeah, James Bond. Yeah,
James Bond, I think, was like the first one. People were like, yes,
and they
we're
even
gonna
delayed it like 2 or 3 times.
right, and they're like, we're gonna go see this, and it works. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
Spider-Man, Batman was another one. Like, there's just certain movies people are like, no matter what, they're gonna go see it.
and then HBO Max comes along at the same time, and it's like, yo, we'll give you both the best of both worlds, and watch us still make money. And what happened?
They
They
still
got
make
more
money.
subscribers, and they still have people go to the theaters and watch the movies.
Do you think the theaters are dead though? Do you think there's any recovering?
No, theaters aren't dead. They might be still feeling some hurt from the pandemic, but they're going to come back. I guarantee it. I mean, people still want to go to the movies. I
Why?
mean,
Well, what's the reason you think?
the experience. The experience. I'm a moviegoer myself. I never stopped going to the movies. Even during the pandemic, I still went to the movies. I love it. It's the experience, man. It's like in this day and age where the cost of living has increased, the amount of money people are making has gone down. You know, not everybody can take the trip to Disneyland or to Disney World or Universal.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's the next best thing?
Is
The
that
theater.
I
The
understand?
theater is
Okay.
escapism. Especially now with everything that's going on. Our country's never been so divided with the pandemic and the uncertainty of work and businesses shutting down. People need escapism more than ever, and
Uh,
that's what the movies are. To the point that even like movie theaters, like 4DX movie theaters, where the seats move and everything like that, they're making money right now.
yeah.
People, this is the new theme park, which is why
Right.
movies that give you action,
Mm-hmm.
all the above, like Marvel movies, like Fast and Furious movies,
Right.
they're making people go to the movie theater. It's a way for us to come together, communicate, get to experience. I mean, look at how many views were on YouTube of people watching theater reactions to Avengers Endgame or Avengers
Right.
Infinity War. Like people
Right.
love experiencing like oh crap moments with other people, and they love seeing other people's reactions. Like it's
That
it's awesome.
I because I'm the complete opposite, as you know. I don't go to the movies for anything. I think the last movie I saw in the movie theater was Avengers Endgame. Not gonna lie.
And
Um,
even when
yeah.
I saw Spider-Man, when uh because I went by myself, but I saw there was other people in the theater when Daredevil came on screen, when Matt Murdock came on the screen.
Oh yeah,
The
people
kid
are
was
cheering and
like,
stuff. Yeah,
the
right.
kid was like, "Yo, that's Daredevil." I was like, "Yo, that's Daredevil, man."
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I was talking to like a
It's
10-year-old
going to
kid.
be
I was like,
weird
"Yo, that's
for me,
Daredevil."
truly, because when I go see Doctor Strange tomorrow, I'm going. I don't know how I'm going to feel about it because I haven't been in so long. It's like to me, it's like, look, I spent
It's
all
gonna
this
be fun,
cash.
dude.
I spent all this cash on my own like setup at home. Like I'll just find a way to do it at home, and that's just how I feel about it personally. Because I don't really like leaving and going out places. One, where I live, how people drive is just ridiculous anyway, and I hate doing it. It's too much.
Yeah.
If I could fly in a helicopter, I would, but I can't. So I have to drive, and I just don't want to do it. But Doctor Strange, I'm willing to do it because one, I just don't want to be hearing people talk about it for the next month and a half until it comes on Disney Plus.
Oh
And
yeah, true.
two, I just want to see it that much, and that's saying a lot. So, I got it in IMAX. Yeah, but there was only a couple times for IMAX, which was irritating. It was mostly standard. So, I got it at 7:15 tomorrow. Looking forward to it. It looks pretty short, which is kind of surprising. But what I want to see in another Marvel movie is some of these shows coming from Disney Plus. Like Moon Knight needs to be a movie. It does. It does. It has the movie type of thing to it. You know what I mean? And I mean, Hawkeye doesn't have that type of movie vibe to it, but Moon Knight does for sure. And I also think it's just because Oscar
Hawkeye
Isaac.
Though.
Yeah, I guess it could, but it works better.
I mean, Hawkeye. What is Hawkeye besides a like Indiana Jones type with a bow and arrow in modern times?
Right. I like the anthology version of it. Like it was like like a show after show. I like that. Like that works better for the type of thing it was doing. You know what I mean?
I like that too.
But Moon Knight, I was like, I really don't want to wait for another week to watch this again. Like it was that good.
I know what you mean. So you finished Moon Knight, right?
Yes.
So I liked Moon Knight. I do feel like it was too much of nothing in Moon Knight for the 6 hours that there were. And
but there was a lot. Like it moved fast. That was the crazy part.
Yeah, but I feel like there was a false sense of urgency in the show. I mean, for most of the beginning, we're led to believe that Amunet is coming. He has the scarab. She's about to come. And then, it doesn't happen until,
she's in for a total of, 20 minutes.
there's, 2 or 3 episodes until we get to that part. So I'm like, is the world not in danger anymore? Is there not a timeline? He's had the scarab for a while now.
Right, yeah.
But we go on to all this other stuff. And then I feel like the second act happened so late in the series. It was kind of like, so you have 45 minutes to wrap this up.
When Steven and Mark reconcile that they're the same person.
Oh yeah. That episode, it was the second to last episode. I'm like, that should really be like the middle episode.
No, exactly. And see, here's the thing. I watched the last episode, not watching the end credit scene. I knew nothing about it, so I read an article on it. I'm like, I gotta watch this. Right. And then all of a sudden, it's like, yo, this dude's got another personality, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I knew that from the comics.
Well, right, so, I knew that too, but I didn't know they were touching on it because I figured they would wait each season for that. You know what I mean? If they were going to do that. I
was hoping they wouldn't. I was like, man, bring them on right now because this show is kind of.
I was talking about this with Heather. I was like, that scene in the last episode when Mark blacks out and all of a sudden he's like, what happened? That was definitely Jake just killing everyone.
That happened twice in the show. And I was like, stop teasing this and not showing me this. And I'm a big action fan. I like martial arts.
Oh yeah, Jake's the lunatic. He fights everyone.
Yeah. So I'm a martial arts fiend, and before this show came out, I was excited because they leaked online Oscar Isaac's training for the show and him doing all these moves and learning the martial arts. And I was like, yo, this is gonna be insane. There's gonna be so much crazy action, and all the action is cut out from the show. He just goes to sleep and then wakes up and everything's done.
The last episode was pretty good because when Steven and Mark reconcile, they're the same person, and then they go back and forth switching the suits, so you know who's fighting Steven and Mark. I thought that was pretty cool.
That was cool. I just wish there was more of that. The last episode was dope. A lot of stuff happened very fast because it was only 45 minutes. They had to wrap everything up.
It needed to be longer.
Yeah, it needed to be longer. I think they said on record that's the shortest Marvel finale show to date. But I was like, give me more of that. Steven even realized he could fight. He's fighting and he's fighting.
It drives me nuts. I'm like, that's probably the best one they've made so far, and it was the least amount of actually things I wanted to it. It's man.
And then he didn't even sign on for another season, Oscar Isaac. So
it was supposed to be a miniseries, but Oscar Isaac hasn't signed for anything, and that's why they're keeping like that. But I feel like here's the thing: he's part of the universe one way or another, and he's going to get sucked into it because Disney. It's just going to pay him. They're like, here you go. This is what you get. What do you want? You know what I mean? If you,
Yeah.
and the thing is like, he's done so much stuff now. It's not like he's an actor who gets famous from this and then he has the need to like branch out to show he can do what he's able to do. He's already done that.
I know, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he
Like
can
been there, done
prove
that,
he can
man.
act. Like
Yeah.
that's never been a question. So it's now it's just going to be a matter of can we actually just retain this guy because he could be a highly marketable dude for this character. Like this character could be like the next like the like the face of Marvel now with the other guys phased out.
And this draws back to our original point. I mean, look at what we're doing. We're talking about a show that ended how many weeks ago? And when's the last time anybody's talked about a show like that on Netflix?
Never. It's been a long time. It has. I mean, I liked Ozark's ending, but the thing is with that, it was like it was expected.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I don't know if you watched that or not, but
Nah.
it was expected. And I'm just like, okay, so the premise of this is like the bad guys win and the people who should be getting off and not dying die. Okay.
On to the next one.
Yeah.
Which is
No,
why you cancel Netflix.
no,
You cancel
exactly.
your Netflix.
It sucks. And it's like, I think a lot of people are going to get to that. I'm sure you're going to do it soon too.
Yeah, I got like 2 shows left, and then I'm like, what am I gonna watch on Netflix after this? I'm
What do you
watching
want?
Arcane,
Okay.
the animated series, which is great. I only watched one episode and it's great. Um, and I'm watching The Last Kingdom, the last season of that.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know Netflix. I don't know what you're gonna do. I don't know what your cure is, but you
It's
got to get it
sad
together,
because
man.
there's the problem is with Netflix, we're running out of things to critique with them because it's just so bad and there's nothing. Like we're finding reasons to talk about it now. Like, okay, we said our bit. We can't keep hammering the point because it's just what else is there at this point?
I mean, Netflix
Do they have
prided
anything in the
themselves.
pipeline? Is there anything that Like, I don't think they have that type
The
of.
Avatar, The Last Airbender remake,
Oh,
which is going to be trash. I'm the
I
only
thought.
one who knows it's going to be trash. Everybody thinks it's going to be great. No, it's going to be trash.
Who thinks it's going to be great? I want to talk to these people.
Stranger Things. I'm friends with a couple of them. You can talk to them.
Same people
Stranger
that think that
Things.
Star Trek's better than Star Wars.
Throwback. But the Stranger Things, the last season of Stranger Things, or no, the second to last season. But whatever. But yeah, this was another good one. My nomads, are you gonna get rid of your Netflix or not?
Yeah.
Let us know. Be creative in the meantime and keep streaming. Peace.